introduce myself and then introduce Dr. Ali. And my name is Najati Aidan. I'm the founder of 5D Thinking, and some of you already know from our program. And basically, what we're trying to do, try to develop educational model and material based on the Quranic worldview. And in this regard, we see our deep study of Quran is absolutely essential for us to develop a unique educational model. Dr. Ali Marmar, in this regard, is, I will say, one of the best person who could help to understand the Quran. And as we try to develop educational material that we can benefit from his deep understanding of the Quran. So I know him for a very long time, and I will give you brief background info. I know he doesn't like that, but I just want to, in a way, I want to give you background info to make sure you know who is the host and who is the scholar that you're going to hear about. You hear from him about the Quran. So Dr. Ali has two sides, an academic side, and he basically completed his PhD at the Durham University. And but somehow, I guess he was not quite satisfied with academia. He didn't go there and did not become, a professor there, but rather he preferred to go also have traditional scholarly education in various countries. Went to Syria, Iran, and he was, recently in Morocco. And I will say he spends, I guess, maybe, half, if not most of his life to really understand the Quran and to get into the deep understanding of the Quran. Now, one of the uniqueness that I find in his work is that, as I mentioned, one is that he is well versed in academic perspective and traditional scholarly perspective. The other thing is that he has been in New York, I think, for almost how many? Over 20 years, 20 some years. And we know New York, as an economist, we consider New York to be the capital of capitalism. But there, if you ever go there and visit him, you will see that he tried to make, in a way, maybe spiritual and intellectual capital. So he has his own, efforts there, and particularly in NYU, he has done a lot of programs, and he is mainly doing those scholarly programs through Islam from Within and Hamim. Those are the channels that you can find on YouTube. And when you go to Google Classroom, you'll find a link to them as well. So why this is important? It's because he has been dealing with the problems of modern times directly at the core of all this problem. He has been, in discussion and a dialogue with various individuals with different question, concern, doubt, and I think that is a unique experience to really help us to see how we can delve into the Quranic wisdom to deal with our modern problems. If you could come up with the problems of people who, let's say, live in New York, I guess that's very much could be helpful for the problems of modern times. So that's what I think is very, very valuable. Now, personally, I think my son, the end of year, he went to my account and checked to see what I watch most, and he find out that most of my time when I watch or listen something on YouTube is going with Dr. Ali Marmar's sessions. So, and that's, I think, is very clear evidence that, I truly value his perspective, his scholarly work, and I tremendously treasure this opportunity to have him joining us and to be with us and guide us to the deep ocean of the Quran. Welcome, Dr. Ali Marmar.
Thank you. A long introduction, not necessarily, but Inshallah, it will be a prayer, not exaggeration. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Well,
Now, I think the very first things we want to really talk a little bit. I always, like I say, people, you know, just wonder why I'm here, why there is such program. So in this regard, I want to really give brief overview of why we need a program like Understanding the Quran today in the month of Ramadan. That is, I think, the key questions that we want to really address that. So in this regard, that I think when we really look at that, we see um, our relationship with Quran and the way we perceive the Quran is perhaps is not as good as it's supposed to be. And I think this is one area that you personally in a way recognize and try to see how you can address that. So I want you to start with that. Why do you think? Because I was truly amazed when I, learned last year that you decided to go to Morocco and to, at this age, to still study the Quran. And I was like, is the Quran such a difficult book that, you're still studying and still thinking that there is a room to study and discover more and more? So first of all, what do you think? What do you see as a problem in terms of our understanding of Quran, given your experience, and what do you think that we can deliver through these programs? Those who attend our program from the beginning to the end, what do you think they could gain, inshallah?
we have a huge, huge heritage from our scholars. And unfortunately, we are not very much aware of them. And we have to benefit from them. And at the same time, every scholar is the, if you like, child of his own age. So the Quran was revealed in a certain period of the time and certain period of a certain area of geography. And then, of course, as the Muslim world expanded all over the world of that time, that time America were not known, and of course it expanded, so the problems are expanded, questions are expanded, and also other cultures are interacted with the Muslim world. So we will study, we will go over all these stages, inshallah, that the Quran was dealt by the scholars in such a way that it also developed with the development of the Muslim world. The commentaries on the Quran, tafsir or tafasir of the Quran developed and tried to solve the problems of their age. And now we are in this age. And of course, we need to bring all this information from background. It's a very valuable information, but we have to bear in mind that this information responded to the problems of their own age. So, as the development of the tradition of the tafsir in the Muslim world among the Muslim scholars followed their needs of their own time. So, my aim is, oh, that's it. We have to benefit from them. We have to know what they have said, but we have to also learn from their experience that we have to read the Quran according to the requirements of our age. So this transition needs to be addressed. That is what I am much more concerned with. So if I understand if I don't have my connection with my history or the Muslim heritage, I will not have a right compass, which direction I should follow. But the Quran is dealt by the Muslim scholars in so depth. Inshallah, we will see them. There is no need to talk much about this. Well, understanding the Quran today is important. Today is important. That's what we are going to concentrate. But at the same time, we should never forget our root. So uh, we will get all our nourishments from the root, but we will flower, inshallah, in understanding of the Quran, blossoming of the Quran according to the requirements of our age. That's what we should do, this transition. Inshallah, we will go over it. It's a long, long-term study. Uh, inshallah, I planned. It's a long, but we are not going to uh, go into details of the sciences. We should know that the Quran was dealt with by great scholars who devoted their life to understanding the Quran, benefiting from it, but of course, every season, the trees and plants and animals, every spring blossom in different ways. So we have to blossom in our age. Inshallah, it is a hard task. We are not going to repeat the history. We are not going to repeat what they said. Benefiting from it, it will be, if you like, under the earth. The root is under the earth, getting its nourishment. But what appears to be the flowers, new fruit. So, inshallah, in our class, although it is hidden under the earth, the root knowledge, but we will speak about our needs and understanding of the Quran according to requirements of our age. So, inshallah, in this journey, we will be patient. We won't be repetitive, inshallah.
Okay, so Dr. Ali, now we'll go over what we're going to cover it, but my key question here is this. Now, perhaps Quran is the most read book in the world. And I guess my guess there is no second other book can compete with Quran. So, and is the most respected book in the world.
Hmm.
But I feel when I read your, articles, I feel you have the sense that Quran is one of the least understood book in the modern times. Did I get correctly? Do you have such feeling? Do you have the pain that the Quran is read and respected a lot, but not really understood and practiced as it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
And if this is the case, why?
No, it needs patience, it needs devotion, it needs commitment to study the Quran. Of course, nowadays people are busy with their concerned with the worldly life and following the easy way, reciting it for barakah, which is very valuable, especially during Ramadan. But most needed side of the Quran is to be understood and get a benefit from it. And another point is, in the tradition, Muslim tradition, Quran is thought to be the book of codification, which is well known among the Muslim world, fiqh matters, mu'amalat, which is called transactions, personal transactions, social transactions, maybe administrative problems, how the Quran addressed. But majority of the Quran, I don't know, you can ask our friends, how do they think about it? Majority of the Quran uh, deals with iman matters, belief matters, establishing the belief matters. Another thing, our friends may be surprised, most delicate teaching of belief matters, most delicate teaching of moral matters, ethical matters. Where you can find this Any guess? In the prophetic stories. I believe that the prophetic stories are not dealt nowadays, as they deserve to be understood. We reduce it into a historical event only, and as a history of ancient people, or a history what happened during the prophetic lifetime. You may be surprised that more than half of the Quran is about prophet narrations of the prophetic stories. But where is the guidance in it? Not the story. Story itself has no guidance. So we have to transfer it into our daily, practical, personal, social life. That is a hard job. That's an hard job. Inshallah, we will deal with it.
So basically, what you're saying that, so it seems like you agree that the Quran is indeed perhaps is the least understood book compared to its potential, its knowledge. So in other words, if we, use analogy, say the wisdom in Quran is like ocean, and we have benefit very little from this ocean. So, and in this regard, that it is indeed a big loss, while it has supposed to be perhaps the biggest blessing for humanity in general, and for Muslim in particular, but somehow we have not really benefited from this ocean of wisdom and guidance. So the reason you're saying, there are various reasons. One, you're saying that we're not passionate, and we are not really, we are not taking Quran seriously to study deeply to unearth this treasure of the Quran. That's one reason. The other reason you're saying that the way we study the Quran and we read Quran perhaps is not a good way, is not a right way, is not an effective way. And the example that you mentioned is the story, saying that almost half of the Quran is the prophetic stories. So if you treat this as just the historical things, then you're going to see as if the Quran speaks about an ancient stories. So
Yes.
you will have difficulty to bring to daily life. So that's my understanding. You're saying this is the challenges, this is the problems, this is the barriers between us and the Quran.
Yeah, that is what we are going to see, inshallah, in the course of our study. But we have to have a general understanding how the Quran dealt with by our great scholars. Very general. We are not going to go into detail, just mentioning the names or the titles of the disciplines they developed, for example. But we will go through it, inshallah. Inshallah, you can now introduce us what subjects
Okay.
we are going to study.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think we can
titles,
do.
just titles.
Yes, we just give the overview. So first of all, again, this is a long journey, inshallah, together. Don't be scared, and we'll try to do everything to get
Yeah.
you to go through those step by step. So I'm just gonna go, but Dr. Ali, you are,
Yeah,
you're
I
sharing
know.
that one. Can you go through that then we can talk about, because the slide, yeah. So we're gonna basically, the subject is the understanding of the Quran. We're gonna start with the connection between Ramadan and the Quran. That will be our very first thing. And then you will see the subtitle, the next one. So yes, next. So we're gonna mention brief history, how Muslim scholars try to really delve into the deep meaning of the Quran. That will be our initial basically our initial stage. Yes. Next one. We just want to give the the blue one, the subtitle, Dr. Ali. The subtitle, yeah.
Something
We,
changed.
we're gonna go through all of them, just subtitle. Yeah, the next one, 12. Yeah. So then we're gonna talk about how we define the Quran. What is our understanding of Quran? Which kind of book the Quran is? And there are various definition. And I think this is one very important part that we will delve into it. Next, we're going to talk about the maqasid al-Quran, means what are the key purpose, what are the pillars of Quran, what is the main message of Quran. I'm going to focus on the four key maqasid in that section. And next, and now we will talk about certain principle. If the problem is that we don't know how to read the Quran, then we need to come up with good principles. So we have 11 principles for a deeper and personal understanding. We're going to go through each one of them, and then we'll give an example from the Quran, Quranic ayah, to see how we can basically apply those principles as we read Quran for the highest benefits.
So it is not for recitation, tajweed. No, no. We mean by how a divine speech. It means a speech coming from the creator of the universe should be read and respected, received, not the pronunciation of it.
And next, yeah. So again, this is still part of the principle. Those 11, we have some subcategories for that as well. And then after that, I think next one, Dr. Ali, the prepare and open the book. That's still part of the principle, how we relate to revelation. That's so two principles about this. And then after that, we're going to talk about how you can prepare yourself to open the book,
The
the
book,
divine
the
speech,
Quran, the
the
book.
Quran. Yes, the book, the Quran. So, and then we're going to talk about the language of Quran in terms of phenomenological language, that how Quran speaks to us from our experience, from our footstep point of view. And that will be one very, very interesting part as well.
Using a lot
And
of metaphors just to make it easy for us to grasp the meaning, and also from human perspective, how we see the world, and Quran guides us from where we see the world and directs us, inshallah.
and then we're going to talk about the essence of Quranic speech in terms of how we see what does it mean to really even to directly get exposed to divine speech, and how what are the what are the meaning and message in that. So we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about four foundational questions to understand divine speech in a way that how does divine speech address the four key problems and questions of humanity, perhaps from the day one. And particularly if you are kind of, reading philosophy and curious person, those existential questions and the Quranic answer to them, it's truly amazing. So we're going to delve with those separately to see how the Quran cover those in this
And
regard.
also this fundamental questions, understanding divine speech. Which kind of relationship I should have with the Quran when I am reading? What am I doing?
Mm.
How, which the what my position is, what the position of the Quran is. From there, we will ask, we will establish the foundational questions and their answers as well, so that I will know when I'm studying the Quran where I stand and what my position, what the speaker's position is. We will study that, inshallah.
And in the Quran, there are a lot of personification. And so, in this regard, we will try to see how we should understand those. Is this just historical, let's say, characters out there, or this is the characters that directly speaks to us and link to us? So that is another things that we're going to address,
Yeah,
inshallah.
that is important too. Yeah.
And obviously, one things that make Quran to be truly miraculous is not just the content and the way he speaks, it is its very language and how this, in a way, ocean of knowledge is coded into limited number of words by placing the word, linking them together, the word preference, the connection between them. That is, I think, is the deciphering the miraculous language of the Quran will truly make us to appreciate which kind of book we're talking about.
Yeah, we always keep talking about that the Quran is beyond time and space, addressing all human beings. It's correct, but it is only 600 pages, even not 600 pages, really. If you think about it, about the normal writing uh, of the book, it is just nothing more than 300 pages. So how am I going to get this limitless knowledge, limitless guidance from a very limited document, text? So, inshallah, this is what we have to go a little bit deeper analysis of the miraculous language of the Quran. How can we study it? How the scholars dealt with it, and which kind of disciplines developed about understanding the miraculous language of the Quran. So this is a great, great, important subject, actually. Here we go.
Okay, so then we need to, since the Quran is revealed in Arabic, and we really need to look at the Arabic linguistic side, and we cannot just go, and read the translation and treat it as the Quran, as the Word of God. So we need to look at the linguistic side and under this principle to see how the message is coded there. So I think that's one of very well studied and is very important as a tool to have a genuine understanding of Quran and deep benefit of the Quran.
That is a very great and important discipline developed by our scholars, Alhamdulillah. They got everything ready for us. Just we have to update it. So the original written text of the Quran is like this. We may think that it's so easy. We open the Mus'haf in our, of course, everybody has a Mus'haf on their table, of course, I'm sure. So this text needs to be read. Of course, there are hundreds of different ways of reading it because there is no dots, there is no haraka, as we know the fetha, kesra, damme, shedde. Or it is, for example, if you see a sign like this, it may be B, it may be T, it may be C, it may be th, it may be yeah. So that needs a great scholarship. And sometimes we hear that the people recite in a different way. Why? Is it really the correct way? Is there any one way of reading the Quran? These are great, great subjects. So we have to, inshallah, deal with it. And, oh, it will continue. Let's start.
Yeah, that we're just going to start with ulum al-Qur'aniyya, right? So in a way that's really
Very
to
quickly, but we will go fast. We are not going to study these subjects. We will just be aware that in order to benefit from the Quran, these informations are we have inherited these informations, and we have to know that we are not very much aware of them.
So, but
So,
what be, Dr. Ali, what do you think, those who are now listening to us, they'll say, what would be the benefit of this for me? I'm not going to be a great
no,
scholar. Can I
no,
just go and read
I,
tafsir and translation? Why you want me to go through this all
no,
complicated
no,
matters?
that understood. Why do we need all this? Be aware that because we are all, of course, Quran lovers. That's what our friends are here for. We love the Quran. That's why we want to study it. But we read from a translation and we say, here it is, what the Quran says. Yes, what the Quran says this. It doesn't mean that we don't benefit from it. Yes, we benefit from it only extremely, I'm emphasizing on this, superficially. Extremely superficially. And we just start talking about it. We should know that That is what I am reading is just a translation of it, what a literal translation of it. Maybe some commentaries a little bit, but of course, they behind it, that is why it is then we call it infinite knowledge is revealed through the Quran. No, we should be aware of it, that, and we shouldn't speak too big.
Okay. So, and again, then we'll go through the, the revelation, this how it was revealed, and what is the chronology, why it's important to know that, and how this will help us to, in a way, to really put everything in a context, and so on. I think that's we can pause here perhaps. We can
So
pause here
all the
perhaps.
sciences of the Quran developed. We will go over it, over it.
Correct, correct, correct.
So
But
inshallah, we will have a confidence that no, the Quran is not only what I read from the translation. So
yeah.
I have to acknowledge and submit to my limitedness. If there may be some great scholars among us, I don't know, but general public, I'm talking about. Uh, all this, it goes on. I mean, everything is ready.
Okay, so
Don't worry.
I think Dr. Ali, here is what I perceive it when I look at this program first really as something for myself. So and I really see as a blessing, Alhamdulillah, and I'm willing to put all of my attention and heart and mind to try to have the maximum benefit. Now, when I look at it, I see basically, we try to, the life is all about learning some things. And I look at my own life, and I read, I think I read a few thousand books in my life. And I was really, since high school, I've been reading a lot. But I came to the point, not as a matter of belief, as I start to really connect to the Quran and delve into the Quran. I feel like as if every books that you read, if it's only help you to understand the Quran, that's really useful. Because otherwise, what is the point? Because the Quran, I feel, is the primary book that for every Muslim to study and to benefit. So anyone who is really interested in learning, which I think life is all about learning, I
Yeah,
feel like we are sent to this world just to study Quran.
yeah,
We're just sent to this world just to really, we're given this book for the whole entire life to see how we can benefit from it. So that is
inshallah. We will do it now, example study.
okay. So in this regard, we want to start with the connection between Ramadan and the Quran. So we know the story, obviously, that the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. Now, obviously, for most people, they think as if Ramadan is the month we fast and then we are gonna get good deeds. But actually, Ramadan, in a Quranic perspective, is described as the month of Quran in which Quran was revealed. So let's reflect on this ayah. If you can bring it to the screen and recite that, and then let's tell us what we understand from this ayah in terms of the connection between Ramadan and fasting and the Quran.
Yeah.
Yes. Since
Uh,
you're
uh,
sharing the screen, you are sharing the screen. I cannot play with because you're sharing the screen. We're going to play from the Quran.com, but I think maybe for now you can recite yourself and then give the meaning. Maybe next
no,
time we can
you
do it.
cannot use the beautiful recitation of an Hafiz. Yeah, okay. Next time, inshallah, you
Okay.
will use it. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه. So the translation is, as you see, yeah, you can read it now.
Yeah, so basically it says it was in the month of Ramadan that the Quran was revealed as guidance for mankind, clear messages giving guidance and distinguishing between right and wrong. So any one of you who is present that month should fast.
No. So we see that the Ramadan is described in the Quran. Maybe general public say Ramadan is the month that we fast. And also the pious people, devout people, recite the Quran and really engage themselves with more worship of Allah. It means ubudiyah. That's what they do. But we have to understand that this Ramadan, الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Now, Quran describes Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, as the month where the Quran is revealed. Now, Hudal Nasi, we will go a little bit about this structure of the ayah. Hudal Nasi, so the guidance for mankind, and Minal Huda wal Furqan. So we will see why twice Huda is repeated here. So the فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمْ. Now, this here, fa, is important because when you see that Ramadan is the month of Quran, it means really this Ramadan is an opportunity for you to connect with the Quran. So it is a source of hidayah for you. And it is also a it means distinguishing, not making it clear, the distinction between right and wrong, if you like, right and wrong. And because of this, fa means here, because of this. Maybe it may be very surprising. I will keep repeating this, but it's very important. One of the most important, not the word, letter of the Quran, not one, two, of the most important letter of the Quran is fa and wa.
Yeah.
What is the distinction between, for example, we cannot use his wa here and convey the same meaning at all. So while we are studying the ayat, we are not going to give grammatic information here. No, but we will pay attention that fa, because of this, whoever is present in this month, فَلْيَصُمْ. Now, this is the reason. First fa is the reason. The second fa, the conclusion. But the same, within the structure, those who know Arabic grammar, they will understand it. So because of this, whoever is present in that month, then for him is the duty to fast. But be careful, فَلْيَصُمْ who? As if the Quran says, a literal meaning, you have to fast it. Am I fasting? What? It. شهر رمضان الذي. Goes back to the beginning of the ayah. When you notice this, amazing. So the whole concept of fasting changed its meaning now. Not that we are not going to fast as we know it, as we inherited from the tradition of the Prophet, but fasting is directly related to the revelation of the Quran. But physical action of fasting is of abstaining from eating and drinking, etc. So the connection is we have to fast it. Fast the Shahr Ramadan. Do you understand? So I took some very simple notes as an example. We are not going to do it always like this.
So let me briefly repeat it. I think it's basically again شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. So now the ayah at the beginning says that Ramadan is the month in which the Quran revealed. Then second part of ayah by فمن شهد وalso فليصمه. That's what is when you think in terms of Arabic grammar, it refers to the beginning and saying essentially because of what happened in which is the revelation of the Quran, therefore you shall fast. So
Yeah.
so it seems like direct connection between revelation of the Quran and the fasting. So
So
let's
you
look
have
at
to
what the
fast.
scholar, yes.
You have to fast the Shahr of Ramadan. What does it mean? Let's go this. Let's go this.
Okay.
Somehow. Sama'an. Yani means abstain from, keep away from something. When it is used within the fiqh-related meanings, it means abstaining from eating and drinking. That is what fiqh has to do, what I am supposed to do by action. But of course, the reason why I should abstain from eating and drinking now becomes fasting as we learned it from Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam's teaching and actions. So during Ramadan, the Prophet did two things: fasted and advise others also to fast, and how to fast, practically demonstrated it, but at the same time devoted his life more with ubudiyah. It means practice of worship. Now, but we have to know that hadith narrations, that is not our main subject, but before everything we have to be aware that hadith narrations are either sayings of the Prophet, everybody knows it, actions of the Prophet, and also ikrar. It means somebody did something, he didn't reject it, he didn't say it is wrong, or just kept quiet. It means he accepted it. Because the Prophet never stops, he keeps silent before anything wrong. That is by definition. So, if someone does something, if the Prophet says nothing at all, just okay, accepts it by silence, then it becomes sunnah. All right, but we cannot see what the Prophet has in his mind, in his spirit. Hadith narrations cannot narrate this. Only physical appearance. For example, if the Prophet gets a little bit disappointed with someone, from the face expression you see. But how about his feelings? For example, while he was fasting, what was he feeling? Hadith narration cannot narrate it because no one can read your mind. No one can read your spiritual situation, your understanding, your consciousness. No. So we have to be aware that why hadith narrations are mostly used for the documents basis, fiqh matters, practical matters. So we have to understand this. That is why usually fasting is narrated in the form of physical action. But how about comprehending the meaning of the Quran, opening your mind, opening your heart to the message of the Quran? You have to go to the Quran and try to see the very delicate fine tuning in the meaning that the ayah gives us the message, its message. So we will bear in mind all this, and while we are studying the ayat, we will pay attention to this and speak about it. We are not going to talk about technical side of it. because it is not an Arabic grammar class. It is understanding the Quran, and we will benefit from it practically. So I took some notes here. If you like, you can read it.
So the scholarly one, right?
Yeah.
So basically, so most of the scholars, when they look at this and this expression in the ayah, the Sawm, most of scholars say that the revelation started in the month or Ramadan. Ibn Ashur says, fasting in Ramadan, encouraging people to be like angels by not eating, etc. Before revelation started, the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to withdraw into solitude. Huda means social and personal benefit which do not contradict prophetic sunnah. Bayina min al-huda means the explanation of the Quran which are not known to most of the people, like the evidence of oneness of God, Tawheed, and prophethood and the other belief matters. That is from Ibn Ashur, and he described Al-Furqan as separation of right and wrong. So the first Huda in that ayah, Huda's Quran's guidance, guiding people by providing evidence. The second Huda, separating this guidance from the wrong, absurd, useless.
Yeah. So what lesson we get from it is very important. That's what I put it in red.
Yes. So lesson is we need to first bring the evidence for the truth. Then we need to separate this truth from the absurd idea or the false idea, I guess, right?
Yeah, that is what two huda, the word is repeated twice. Why?
Mm.
But it is not really redundant repetition. So it teaches to know the reality. We learn the right and the wrong. So, for example, if I don't know the reality, the truth, and try to see and understand the reality from the wrong sources, that I will be confused. I don't have the criterion. That's why Quran says, I am the criterion for you. So inshallah, when we study the Quran, first we will concentrate not criticizing other ideologies or other ideas. First, to make sure what the Quran is saying, what is presenting to us, and then we say what the other people are saying in my age. Of course, our classical studies answered the opposite ideas in their age. So we will get the method from their responding to the opposite ideas in their original classical tafsir, and I will say that this is the method our scholars have really left behind for us. Now we will go, okay, how can I use the same method now to answer the opposite ideas or opposing ideas, against what the Quran is saying? So we will benefit from these from these structures of the Quran. So while we are later on, we will go on practical examples, inshallah, after certain times. So we will study certain ayats or any ayats from the Quran and do application. While we are doing application, we will bear in mind all these informations. It was under the earth, root. It's a very important, this metaphor. Root is will be under the earth. So uh, it shouldn't be frightening for our friends that we are going to study the Quran, and as if we are going to study grammar, we are going to study other branches of sciences of the Quran. No, no, no. We are going to get the fruit of it now.
Treasure.
Inshallah.
Yeah. So can we go back to the previous slide, Dr. Ali, previous one? Yeah. So I think that what you explain is, mashallah, I think is really amazing. So what you're saying that essentially, you're saying we only understand fasting and abstaining from eating and drinking, but actually within the entire context of the ayah, abstaining here is in a way to abstain from the false ideas and to learn the true idea and actually to compare them and to live your life accordingly. So therefore, it's very much here in this case that Ramadan or fasting is all about studying the Furqan to know the truth and the falsehood and to distinguish them from each other. And it's interesting, the ayah expression, it says, Hudan linnas. It doesn't say Hudan lil Muslimun, lil mu'minun. So it's nas means that what the ayah is referring is for the entire humanity. If you seek the truth, if you want to understand the wisdom, here is the book. Study and then compare with every others and you make your decisions. So it's that's what I think it's saying, right?
Yeah. So that is correct. But let's connect to the next verse where also Quran uses the word saum, فَلْيَصُومْ, or
Yeah.
same. Yeah, here it is.
Okay. Recite it, please. I think that's really, those are two also very, very interesting.
So this is interesting, as if these two verses have nothing to do with each other. Now, فكلي واشربي وقري عينا فإما ترين من البشر أحدا فقولي إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا. Now, so read the translation. It is so exciting. We don't have much time. Yeah.
So eat and drink and put your heart at ease. If you see any person say, I have wore a fast to
Wow.
the most merciful, so I will not speak to anyone today.
Now, the
That's
contrast. See the
that's
contrast now.
who is
Now,
the person here? Is Maryam, right?
yeah, yeah, it's famous. Everybody knows this.
Okay.
So in this fasting, Allah, God, orders that eat and drink, as contrary to the fasting of during Ramadan. Now, eat and drink, but be this comfortable. Put your heart at ease. You are sure what you are doing. If you see anyone, why? Because she, uh, Maryam, has a baby out of wedlock. Wow. So they will accuse her as they did historically. So say, I'm not going to speak. I vowed, I have vowed a fast to the most gracious Rahman, God, and I will not speak to anyone today. Now, what does it mean? I am fasting not to speak. What happened then? Who's going to defend Maryam? The baby, Isa, will speak. It means miraculous creation will speak. So I will not speak to, I'm not going to defend, but let the miraculous creation of the universe speak. Now, because Jesus was created without cause, as we are used to. Now, there is no father. So it means the universe is created in such a way that cause have no effect. So this is a miraculous creation, the miraculous creation of Isa, Jesus, but the Quran is teaching me that rather than you yourself try to defend the truth, let the miraculous creation of the universe speak for you. That is why
Uh,
I will not speak. I will not speak. No.
Yes,
inshallah.
Dr. Ali,
فلن
we have
excuse me,
only
yeah, yeah, we have.
we have only 2 minutes.
Now, no, no. فلن أكلم means it's exciting. فلن, not only now I am not going to speak. I will never ever speak in the future. It means it's a message for me, speaking to me, Ali, don't try to defend the truth by your words. Let the universe speak. Because the land is the future tense. So we will see that in our age, we will use the universe as the evidence which will speak in confirmation of the reality of the message of the Quran. So this combines the Quran and the creation together, inshallah.
Okay, and I think I can briefly sum up what we covered today, and we will inshallah continue tomorrow. Basically, as you see, we mentioned the problem in terms of how we approach to the Quran, and I'm saying that Quran indeed needs to be studied very deeply, very carefully, and in one way, we have a tremendous let's say, scholarly works with us so we can utilize them. But in another way, that we have some perhaps perception and cultures and misunderstanding that really prevent us to truly benefit from the treasure of Quran. So in this case that we had a brief overview of that what we're going to cover to really help us to understand and benefit from this diamonds and gold from the Quran. And you just saw one example, and we reflect on two ayah from the Quran, and that basically those two ayah, as Dr. Ali explained it, when you delve into the wording, the grammar, the meaning, the message, and the story all behind that, and you see it's absolutely miraculous, wise, divine expression that how God speaks to us. So, and those just two examples. So I think we run out of time for today. We will, inshallah, continue on those ayah, one more ayah. We have it tomorrow, and we will continue our journey tomorrow. And please stay with us on WhatsApp group and Google Classroom. We'll update you on that. And inshallah, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now,
Yes, Dr. Ali?
we will inshallah connect this ayah of the Quran that we studied today about Maryam, and also Quran commands us when the Quran is recited, keep quiet, keep silent. So look the tie between keeping silent when the Quran is speaking and keeping silent will let the universe speak, and also keeping silent when the Quran is revealed in the month of Ramadan. The ayats are really like a chain. I am excited about this study.
Me too, inshallah. Can we, Quran is also the book of dua. Can we end our program with a nice dua from you, inshallah, Dr. Ali?
Fadda, please, you
No, no, I think you can go, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وإتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. إن شاء الله.
Shukran jazilan. Assalamu alaikum. See you tomorrow, inshallah.